Hello, I hope everybody is feeling well and happy. We've got a lovely day here. We've got a bit of sunshine, and I'm just thinking about different things that make us feel better about ourselves and about the state of the world and any situation that we might be in, because I've had a lot of correspondence lately from people who are feeling on the edge because there are so many dreadful things happening in the world. Wars, food shortages, corrupt politicians. You know, we can make a list an arm length, so I won't do that because we've all got our own gripes. But these things can take us over, and they can really disrupt our health, our well-being, our sleep, our relationships, because we're getting irritable. So I just thought I would show you some things that I do for self-care using our wonderful plants that are such a gift to us. So even something like this, a bunch of weeds, literally, these are weeds in my garden. I've got some evening primrose, which is now a weed in this garden because it just keeps popping up everywhere. I'm not sure what these are. Wild valerian, little bit of fuchsia, and the oxeye daisies, which self-seed everywhere, so I will never be done pulling these. So I think it's okay to make a little wildflower or weed bouquet, as this is what this is, and that can really uplift your spirits because of the colours and the scents and all the different shapes. So so today I'm just going to say I think it's really important that we practice self-care, because once you feel better in yourself, you're better able to be authentic, and you're better able to care about and for others. And it's needed so much at this time that we do express care and compassion to other people. But you can't do it coming from a hurt place. So this is what this is about this week. It's about self-care. This is one idea of self-care. And I'm just going to go in and pop them in water before I show you a couple of other ideas. Another thing that I find really beneficial when we're talking about self-care is not just care of the physical body, but also our energetic space as well. And you probably know, if you've been in a busy city, squished down the streets because of the crowds, or you've been in a shopping mall and everybody's just thinking buy, 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 all kind of negative experiences. So one thing I like to do after coming back from a place like that is to cleanse my aura. And some people call this smudging. Some people in this part of the world would call it seining. So it's very simple. You're just drying a collection of different herbs and you're smudging yourself, or putting this cleansing smoke into your auric field. So what I have here is dried bay, which is renowned for its protection, qualities of protection. So all that smoke, I want it to be into my aura. This is seining really, because I'm burning a whole bunch, and I'm setting an intention that the bay is going to protect me, it's going to cleanse me, it's going to remove any negative energy that I may have picked up when I was in a busy, crowded place where with lots of people who might be feeling miserable and unhappy. And the thing about bay as well is this is the herb that was used at Delphi, where people went to hear the oracle speak, and the priestesses there would have been breathing in all this bay leaf smoke, which would have given them the opportunity to connect to a higher source to get the information that people wanted. So you can make your own, you can do that. You can just dry a bunch of any herb. I'll put a list in the box below of the different herbs' properties in terms of cleansing and protection. But you could also use sage. Now, lots of people will buy white sage in a New Age shop, and I would absolutely discourage you from doing that, because white sage is very much in decline because everybody wants it. And because it's used for smudging and cleansing, you can use ordinary garden sage. It has exactly the same properties, and you can grow your own in this climate. And so I've got lots of sage here. I've also got some mugwort, because mugwort is renowned for protection as well, because it's Artemisia. She's a protector of women and children. So her plant, mugwort, is going to protect you, and rosemary as well is incredibly cleansing. So they're cleansing and they're protective. So you take your bundle of fresh herbs. Don't try to do it with dried herbs because they'll be too brittle, they'll just snap. And then using a thread, this is jute, so it's a natural cord or a natural string. You just tie it on and start wrapping it around the bundle. Do not use plastic. I've seen people use plastic, and of course the plastic starts to melt and smell. It's not really a way to do a sacred cleansing ritual. So this is just going to wrap around. So there's a very rough and ready made smudging bundle. As that dries, it will shrink, so you might have to put another piece of string around it after a short while. And you could even finish it off in a very, very, very low temperature oven. But it will take a few months, depending on where you live, of course. But I'll be using that next year, because that's how long it'll take for me for it to dry out properly. And when you've done that to yourself, when you've cleansed that auric field, you feel lighter, you feel like you've shed weight, and it puts you into a better headspace so you can think more positively. So just to reiterate, if you're coming back from a place where it might be a meeting, it might be just from work, it might be from public transport, it might be from anywhere, and you feel that weight, it might be after seeing the news on the television, you can light your herbs, you can light your bundle, let yourself be covered in smoke, bring it into your auric field and set an intention for cleansing, purification, protection, whatever it is you're hoping for, and depending on the plants that you're using. And don't forget, I'll put a list in the box below as to what purposes each herb is for. So let's move on to some other things we can do for self-care. Another thing that I find beneficial is a walking meditation. I'm not the sort of person who can just sit and look at a candle and meditate, so I like to make it a movement. So you could do it if you were dancing or any kind of movement. But when I do a walking meditation, I bring to mind that Navajo chant, which is beauty before me, beauty behind me, beauty above me, beauty below me, beauty all around me. And so instead of just walking and letting crazy thoughts run through my mind, I'm focusing on the beauty that is literally before me and behind me, because focusing on the beauty helps me to see all these amazing gifts from nature, the colours, the different shapes, the many, many different plant relations that are here. And it just makes me feel grateful then. So that's how the walking meditation benefits me and helps to lift me up a little bit. And I just repeat that to myself. Beauty before me, beauty behind me, beauty above me, beauty below me, beauty is all around me. Another thing that I rarely do, but I really enjoy it when I remember to do it, is a hand massage. So it's surprising how much tension hands can hold, because there's such great tools. We use them all the time, and they hold onto our emotions as well. You know yourself, if you caught yourself being angry, you might find your fists are clenched, or you might be at a loss and your hands go up to your head. We do lots of things subconsciously with our hands when we're going through various emotions. So a little bit of a hand massage is very relaxing and lovely. So I'm just putting a little bit of rose infused oil onto my hands. My hands always deserve a little bit of oil, because working in the garden they get very dry and I can't wear gloves all the time. But yeah, our hands definitely need a little bit of TLC. So once you've rubbed in your oil, you're just going to gently rub the heel of your palm and the fleshy part there. And then when you get to your fingers, you want to just gently rub and stretch and pull and work in between the fingers as well. And you're trying to keep your hand relaxed at this time. Give them a little pull after rubbing up to the top, and just give them a little pull. And you can take deep breaths, you can meditate, you can have an affirmation, you can have an intention that as you release the tension in your hand, it's going to leave the rest of you. And then you do the same on the back of the hand as well. Just give it a little rub. Same thing down the fingers again, give them a little pull. And then you just do the next, or rather the second hand. Hopefully you've only got two. So we're just rubbing out the fleshy parts, and rub under each finger as well, those little mounds, because that's where muscle is, and it's muscle that holds all the tension. So just rubbing along the fingers and pulling gently. If you can get someone to do this for you, it feels much nicer, and you could do it for them, and that way the both of you would benefit. But even if you're just doing it for yourself, it's still very nice, and it's 5 minutes out of the day, so that you're giving yourself some attention. You can do it with your feet as well. And that brings me to the next thing, which is a lovely foot bath. So a foot bath is the ultimate in relaxation and self-care. I've got rosemary and rose petals in here. And the rose petals are just because they're so luxurious and they smell wonderful. They're very cooling and calming, and they work on the heart space. So if you get like me, when I get very angry and frustrated, coming back into the heart space is important, and rose can help with that. The rosemary is a great cardiac herb, so again it's good for the heart, but it also is very, very beneficial to the brain, and it brings oxygenated blood up to the brain, so it can help you to get some clarity and focus. So instead of reacting to things, you can be more in the moment and you can view things with some proper focus. And then of course I'm just going to add a little bit of Epsom salts, just a handful, maybe a bit more. So you don't want your water to be too hot. This is just off the boil, so it's going to be hot enough to release the volatile constituents, the volatile oils in the rosemary and the rose. That feels so good to be doing something so positive for myself. And even just looking at the colours is uplifting and makes you feel better and more refreshed and relaxed. So while I sit here with my feet in this lovely foot bath, I'm going to enjoy a cup of chamomile and rose tea. And I've chosen the chamomile because it's very calming and soothing. So if you're feeling like you are angry and frustrated and ready to erupt, the chamomile should just bring you back down to being calm and at peace. But also, if you're the sort of person whose digestive system suffers when you're under a lot of stress, chamomile is brilliant for the digestive system. So, thanks Maureen. Cheers. So if you have any little self-care tips, let me know in the comments below. I hope you can do at least one of these things for yourself during the week, because you are important. You do need to be loved and looked after. And if you have to do it yourself, that's okay. But just remember, you're just as important as everybody else. So I'm just going to relax now and see you next week. Cheers. I hope you enjoyed today's film. If you did, subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. And have a look at the website danusirishherbgarden.com for more information about us and about the herbal medicine courses I offer and the Wise Woman Way training. And if you go to the shop, you can find the books, the weed handbooks and other herbal goodies. And remember, we put a new film out every Sunday. So looking forward to seeing you next week.